Hey, evening, girls, guys, ladies, gentlemen, and animals of the furry kind. Evening all. As you can see, I'm in a graveyard because I believe that's the only place I actually fit in, where everyone is dead. How's everybody? I'm drinking out of my very special cup. Probably can't see it. Yeah. It says the adventures awaits. It's my little camping drink, look. It's very cool. So, proper tin thing. Proper tin cup. Look. How cool is that? Proper tin. What am I live streaming for would be a good question. Honestly, I don't know. I had planned a live stream. I was meant to live stream at 7. I was meant to have a panel. But unfortunately, due to circumstances, none of my panel has arrived. So, that is the question of the day. Trying to find where I belong. I don't feel I belong anywhere. If I'm honest, I don't. I don't feel I belong anywhere. I think my home is in a graveyard, surrounded by dead people. And why? Why do I feel that being around dead people is the best thing for me? Because honestly, I believe being in a graveyard means that you don't get judged. No one else cares about your opinion. No one argues with your opinion. And I just fit in because there's no one there. There's no one to judge, no one to criticize you. I've always felt at home in a graveyard. I spend a lot of my time in a graveyard. I go there to think. Always knew you were odd. Thank you, Gordo. You're welcome. I always feel at home in a graveyard. It's a good place to go. If you've never gone and sat in a graveyard and just watched the world around you just travel by really fast, you just sit in a graveyard and it's nice and quiet and there's no hustle and bustle apart from the outside world. It is so therapeutic sitting in a graveyard. I tell you, if you've had a bad day, an argument with your partner, or you just feel shit, I guarantee you go to a graveyard and you sit in there, I guarantee you'll feel better. Honestly, you will feel better sitting in a graveyard. You just will. Look on the plus side, it's full of stiffies. Only you could take it there, Gordo. Only you. Only you could take it to such depths below the surface to come up with that. But, fair enough. If you want to say that, Gordo, I mean, why not? Why not? I don't know. Graveyards are therapeutic. You go in a graveyard, there's no one to argue, no one to bicker with, no one disagrees with you. You can voice your opinion out loud, and you know who replies? Absolutely no one. No one argues with you, no one disagrees with you, no one has an opinion. You fit right in amazingly. Being around dead people means for once, hang on, just for once, that I actually fit in. I'm not being rude, you just have a dirty mind. Of course I do, Gordo. Every joke you ever make is me just jumping to conclusions. I mean, Gordo is the most well-behaved troll in my group, obviously. He's the most well-behaved troll. Gordo, are you not a mod? Are you not modded, Gordo? Gordo, why don't you have a mod wrench? Gordo. Welcome. There we go, Gordo. They are stiffs. It's not as if they are disco dancing. In a grave. Do you know, it would be kind of cool if they were disco dancing. I can just imagine a discoing zombie. Why not? Graveyard parties. I mean, people have raves in graveyards. You just don't see it or hear it on the telly. I was, but you took it away. Oh, Gordo. 6 watchers. Wow. And 1 person in the chat. A lot of people are interested in my outlook. All 5 of you. So popular. What can I say? I don't know. And it wasn't even naughty. It wasn't. The graveyard is full of stiffies. I am now demonetized. Thank you, Gordo. I'm demonetized now. But no. Have you never just sat in a graveyard and thought that it's just so peaceful? Good evening, Zero. Have you never been to a graveyard and just sat there and just watched the world go by? Come on. Are you telling me you just go to a graveyard for a funeral? Like, you don't just sit in a graveyard. I've had a picnic in a graveyard before. Is that crazy? Going to a graveyard and having a picnic? What for saying, Steve? Look, Gordo, I gave you a mod wrench. Take your stiffy and I would say run with it, but that's probably really hard to do. How am I doing? You know, I've been better, but I've also been worse. So 50-50, mind you. I've been worse. I've been sick half of the week. That was good. Had to work at the same time. That wasn't good. You know, I'm just trying to find my place in the world, on YouTube, and just in general. Kind of feel a bit, what's the word? Kind of feel a bit disjointed. That sucks. Did you get demonetized? No, but my video will be because Gordo had to talk about stiffies. I'm not demonetized, but my video will be demonetized because Gordo's obsessed with stiffies. I know, he really needs therapy. Gordo's obsessed with getting a stiff one. You can't blame him, can you? Gordo's obsessed with stiffies. I mean, who knew? It's a joke, Zero. Yeah. He talked about stiffies, bang goes demonetization for the video. Not overall. No, I'm totally monetized. I'm raking in the money for being monetized. Not a huge amount, but I do make money each month, which is feeding me. I need some life coaching. Wow. You've come to the you've come to the wrong place here. You've come to the wrong place. In all honesty. No worries. Life coaching. Oh, I don't know about that. It's a touchy subject, life coaching, isn't it? I mean, do you need life coaching? What would you need life coaching on? Want to narrow it down? What's the life coaching that you actually need, Gordo? Is it life coaching your perverted mind? Oh, no, sorry, that was me, wasn't it? What would you need life coaching on? I mean, I do know a life coach who could give you great advice, Gordo. No? No takers? I can't say I didn't try. I could give you some advice, Gordo. Go on, lay it on me. Come on, I'll give you some life coaching. On how to be a better troll. What? Oh, come on. You're a great troll. I think you're a great troll. Getting coaching from people that haven't done anything similar. Well, there's nothing wrong with life coaching, is there? What do you think's wrong with life coaching? I mean, do we all not need some life coaching sometimes? I mean, on how to be a better troll. Well, how to be a better troll. Well, first you need to go back to doing your memes, Gordo. You need to get proper full-time meme training. You need some meme training. That's what you need. Meme training. Meme training. Hang on. Meme training. But you know, Mud Mover 83. Good evening. Hang on. Sorry, it's work. Works are always after me, you know. How to be a better troll. Well, first you have to go back to doing your memes because memes were what you were good at. Secondly, after memes, how to be a good troll. Well, what you need is you need to be a channel whore. You have to go around all the channels and be in everybody's chat. That's how you troll. You have to troll really well, though. You have to troll with some snappy stuff. You know, you have to be on the ball with your trolling, Gordo. Evening, Mud Mover. I'm not sure who you are, but welcome. I mean, I welcome anybody, really. I'm desperate. Desperate for views. Gotta make that money. Money, money, money. Have to be careful I don't get demonetized because God forbid. Don't want that. But no worries. You tell me what else you need coaching in because I can you're desperate. I'm not a troll. Oh, do you know what? Even if you're a troll, I don't think I care. I honestly don't think I care if you're a troll. To be fair, having some trolls in my chat wouldn't be a bad thing. Views are views, mind you, are they not? A view is a view, whether it's a troll or a human, man, woman. You can put your dog in front of the channel if you want to watch it. I know Gordo's dog is the cutest dog that I haven't seen in real life. He's cute on a picture. My Discord has some cute pooches, i.e. Gordo's one, mainly. But I honestly don't care if you're a troll. Be a troll. Don't be a troll. See me caring? Yep, I cared. It took all about a second of my time. Honestly, not really bothered. But troll away if you want. I mean, you'd have to beat Gordo because Gordo is king of the trolls. He probably didn't tell you that when you walked in. But he's king of the trolls. He's Lord Troll, king of the trolls, high troll, whatever you want to call him. He's El Capitano when it comes to trolling. No one trolls better than Gordo. People have tried, mind you. But like I said, I feel happy in a graveyard. Apparently there's a bunch of stiffies around me, so lucky me. I don't know. I don't know what else to say, really. It's been a slow day. I did go sit in a graveyard this afternoon. Took some pictures of some ducks. Some of them are got over 200 videos and 2,300 views. Wow. I have 3,000 videos and over, I think the last time I checked, I've got 360,000 views. Go me. You got another dog? What? It's a Rottweiler crossed with a rough collie lassie. He bites you, then goes for help. Gordo, Discord picture now. Why do I not have a picture of your dog in my Discord, Gordo? Gordo, I'm seriously thinking of taking your wrench if you don't take your ass and put the cute doggy picture in my Discord right now. How can you get another dog and not share it in the Discord? Go, Gordo. Go to Discord, put cute picture of doggy in. That's an order. Evening, Anna. J-Rom. Mudmirror, you're laughing. Are you laughing at the fact that I threatened Gordo to put a dog picture or I'd take his wrench? Because jokes are lost on this one. Go put the picture in my Discord. That's an order. Because I half know where you live, Gordo. I half know where you live. I know the town you live in. But I can find your house. All I have to do is listen out for two cute doggies. Evening, Gemma. He bites you, then goes for help. I want cute pictures of your dogs in my Discord, Gordo. Just do as you're told. Do as you are told. Someone explain it to her. Gordo, I'm going to take your wrench, my friend, because I can. Gordo's gonna make me take my wrench. I'm gonna take your wrench, Gordy. I'm not doing it. I'm taking your wrench. Shit. Hang on. Can't operate with one hand. Although that's probably lost on you, isn't it? Oh no, you lost your wrench, Gordy. Help, help. Gordy lost his wrench. Oh no. Oh look, you're no longer a mod, Gordy. I don't take... Oh, bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, Gordy. You may be the trolling king, but I'm queen of my channel. If anyone wants to come up, I am bored out of my fucking mind. It's a shame I didn't get the stream I wanted today. I was hopefully going to stream with the girls. Oh, it's work. Hang on. It's work. Because work don't stop messaging me on a weekend, apparently. Oh, mamby-pamby work. Mamby-pamby work shit. That's right. What's right? Did I miss something? Yep, took his wrench. I gave it to him like 10 minutes ago. And now he's lost it. It's a funny old world, isn't it? I took his wrench. Just want to relax and work comes up. Yeah. Work are constantly messaging me. It's my weekend off, would you believe? My weekend off. And work is still messaging me. Can't even get a weekend off, can I? Or apparently I can't. The wrench is yours to lose. If anyone wants to come up and have a chat, you know, my stream didn't really go to plan. It was meant... Oh, shit. What have I done? Oh, no, I took the thing away. Hang on. It was meant to be a different stream, but problems arose. So I cancelled the stream I had planned. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to sit in a graveyard this evening on camera and hang around with, well, some dead people. And see if some live people turned up. I don't know. Who knows? Honestly, I'm in that kind of mood this evening that I could say I care. I probably don't. I don't know. It's been a funny old day. You know, I've not felt the best in myself. Things haven't gone to plan. Probably because of me. I mean, not everyone's cup of tea. Hence, hanging around in a graveyard apparently is weird, or so Gordo seems to think. I think it's perfectly normal. I mean, why wouldn't you hang out in a graveyard? Like I said earlier, graveyards are fun. That there's no one to argue with you, no one to disagree with you, no one to criticize you, no one to find you indifferent. No one cares about your opinion in a graveyard. You shoot it at the top of your lungs and no one would give a fuck. And you wouldn't get any answers either. Amazingly. Although if you did, I'd suggest running. If you shout in a graveyard and someone answers you, like, okay. Any plans for this weekend? No. None. It's my weekend off. And I did spend this morning in a graveyard. I know. Go me. I'm so goth now. I just hang around in graveyards. I did buy a fancy new black picnic basket today. Bought myself a fancy black picnic basket. And you would not believe how fucking awesome it is. It's so going to go with my little cups that I've got. See, these are really cool. But my black goth picnic basket is to die for. You should show it off. Hang on. Oh. Hello. Yeah. No. It's mega. What? Proper. Yeah. Oh yeah. Proper goth picnic basket. Look at that. Little leather straps and everything. Look at that. Cost me £5 British. I think it looks amazing. And it's black. And it's going to be so cool going for a picnic in the graveyard with it. Oh yeah. Me, graveyard, picnic basket. I think it's a cool idea. I'm going to do a live stream from the graveyard with my picnic basket. I love the color of the straps. The whole thing is black. the black wicker, the black bows, the black leather straps. The whole thing is black. And I absolutely love it. And I got it for £5 British. You have no idea how much that wicker basket is actually worth. I actually did look online to try and find it. And that basket is worth between £30 and £50. And I got it for £5. I know. If you hear someone screaming back in the graveyard, it's probably Spring Hill Jack. Do you know, if someone talks to me in a graveyard, I probably think it was the voices in my head. Well, you know. I love sitting in graveyards. I used to do graveyard rubbings. Well, that's kind of fun. That's not expensive. Got it for a steal. I know. Usually it's between £30 and £50 brand new, and I got it for £5. Absolute steal. Literally stole it from the charity shop. Not literally stole it. Yeah, I got it for next to nothing. Next to nothing. Put myself back in the graveyard. Hang on. Back to my graveyard. There you go. Back in my graveyard. No, got it for a steal. I'm so happy that I got it. I mean, who doesn't love sitting in a graveyard? Oh. So what's everybody else doing? Everyone else seems, I don't know, kind of busy this evening, maybe. Work. Talk amongst yourselves. So, I guess just me and myself this evening. I guess the timing doesn't really make it so I could have a panel. I guess everyone's kind of busy this evening, which is a shame because I don't really live stream very much because I work so much. And I only get like certain days off at the minute because I've worked like a mother recently. I've done so much work and I made myself ill from working so much, which is great. I got a new tripod for my camera, but I woke up late, so my post office was closed, so I have to wait till Monday. Oh my God, Zero, give yourself a smack on the bum for that one. You should have set an alarm to wake your lazy butt up. Now you're going to have to sit there and hope. Tell yourself off, Zero. Go out, go in the other room and give yourself a good spanking for that. If I had a really important parcel due to my house, I'm getting my ass up because that postie is bringing it the once. I ain't trusting no postie to bring it back to my thing multiple times. Do you know what I mean? 0, 0, 0. Gonna have to tell you off. Gonna have to give you a right old spanking for that, Zero. Damn post office people. Why didn't they think to wake you up? You know, enough to wake the dead, huh? But yeah, I mean, I guess everybody had a late night last night. You know, shit went down. People were streaming, but I haven't streamed in a while. I guess maybe because I don't stream very often, maybe I've lost some traction. Why did they not put it for pickup 2 days ago? Ah, I know. Zero, seriously. Trust me, I'm not happy. No, I'm not happy with you. You should have been up, Zero. Rule number 1, you have nice parcel coming. You get your butt out of bed, Zero. Seriously, you don't trust that postie with your parcel for more than you have to. Because you know what happens when posties have items for multiple days? They break them. They damage the packaging. It turns up looking like it's been through some kind of cyclone or some kind of earthquake when it arrives to your house. There's either a dent in the box or a tear in it. Or God forbid, just don't bear thinking about, Zero. Oh, if I had a parcel that I had to be home for, I'd take the day off work, Zero. If it's that important, get your butt up, take the day off work, and be home for your parcel. You've been told. Squished. Squished. I once got one like that. Squished, teared, broken. Oh, the horror stories of having a parcel delivered are, terrifying. What? You've been told, Zero. You should know better then. If you had a squished parcel before, you should have known better. You should just have to tell yourself off. The Dom in me would like to bend you over and just give you a right good slashing for that. Like bad Zero. You'd enjoy it though. My evil streak in me says, give him a good lashing. Just to remind you. So I don't know who else is here this evening. Zero seems to be chatting. So at least one person is watching, maybe XD. Zero, my dear friend. When you have a parcel of such expensiveness, you make sure you're there for it. I have to teach you, Zero. But Paolo Santo. Good evening. I don't know who you are, but hello there. Top of the morning to you. Bonjour or Guten Tag or various other languages. How is everybody this evening? I am the same as I usually am. Alone in a graveyard with a bunch of stiffies, apparently. It's a very slow day, Gordo. I don't know. I'm just not feeling myself. Hello is okay. Well, hello, Paolo. So, how many people are watching this shit show of a stream that really hasn't turned into anything, if I'm honest? I guess picking the wrong topic, or maybe not being popular, I guess. I mean, has anything creepy ever happened to you at the graveyard? Not really. I like graveyards, whether it's during the day or during the evening. I find them very, very calming. And they also lift my spirits. Who can say a graveyard can lift your spirit? I actually feel more alive in a graveyard than I do anywhere else. I feel at home, which is crazy. And a lot of people tell me that when I'm like, I feel at home in a graveyard. You have no idea how therapeutic it is to just sit in a graveyard and just watch the rest of the world rush by. And you just sit there in this quiet graveyard with the cars going by you, depending on where your graveyard is. You may see the occasional rabbit running around in the graveyard, or if you're in my graveyard, you see baby ducks at the minute, and it's just so soothing. I have never had anything creepy happen in a graveyard. If something creepy did happen, maybe I wouldn't have noticed, because I feel so relaxed in a graveyard that nothing in a graveyard would really faze me, I guess. I mean, I plan to do a picnic in the graveyard for my channel at some point. I thought that would be kind of cool. As we get to the summer, have a picnic in a graveyard and maybe do a live stream from there. Maybe I could film from the graveyard at night one time. That would be kind of cool. See if we did have anything creepy happen. I'm not averse to filming in a graveyard at night. Obviously, Halloween would be the best time to film from a graveyard, to see if anything happened, or Hallows Eve. The best night of the year, mind you. Or I think it's the best night of the year. But I think, graveyards can have therapeutic, gives you nice feelings just being there. Death doesn't have to be seen as negative. Death can also be a positive in my eyes. I think surrounding yourself with death actually helps the feeling of that you don't have a lot of time on this earth, and one day this is where you will end up. And the more you embrace death, the less you fear it. Halloween can be really fun. Of course it can. What is better than dressing up and having candy, or having a Halloween fancy dress party, or sticking razor blades in stuff? Or scaring the shit out of little children. Also quite fun. Or hanging around a graveyard and having a seance with a Ouija board. I mean, there's worse things you could be doing. Probably a lot worse. There's nothing wrong with the seance in a graveyard or a picnic in a graveyard. I do like Halloween, especially for the dark aesthetic, the costumes, the eeriness, and that kind of thing. Nothing wrong with a graveyard. I mean, I embrace graveyards because it makes you fear death less. A lot of people are scared of graveyards because they hold the one thing that scares them, and that's dying. Now, I came to terms with the fact that life on Earth is short-lived many, many moons ago, because I used to date, back in the day, I used to date an undertaker's son, and I saw everything, the whole works of a graveyard, a funeral parlor, a morgue. I've witnessed everything there is to do with death, from a person dying in a care home to seeing the body in a morgue, to following the journey of a body in a morgue, to having the fluids drained, to having the makeup put on, to having them sometimes embalmed. The whole process, start to finish. And then going from the embalming to being in a coffin, and then either being put into a coffin to be buried or taken to a crematorium. And then obviously being in a crematorium, you end up as ash, you're put in a jar, and then you're either spreaded or if you're buried, depending on the burial you pick nowadays, because there are multiple ways you can be buried. You have a single burial, you could be group burial. There's even eco burials now, or humanitarian burials. They also do open burials, so they can study dead bodies. If you want to say, the funeral business has come a long way. And then obviously you had the funerals from the, pandemic that we're not meant to talk about. So I've seen the start of a grave, the start from death to ending up in a grave. I've seen a dead body. I've washed a dead body. I've helped clothe a dead body. I've gone right the way through from seeing a live person to watching them die to then doing all the morgue stuff, all the graveyard stuff, to finally laying a person to rest. It's, in some people's eyes, it's a weird thing to have an interest in. But I find that because I've gone through all of that, I don't actually fear death, which for some people would be weird. Like, you don't fear dying. I don't fear dying. I really don't. I have spent my time around death so much in the care homes, dating an undertaker's son, hanging around in graveyards, having a fascination for murder and serial killers. I'm surrounded, literally surrounded from start to finish in my life with death. That death doesn't actually faze me now. People fear death. They spend their lives constantly worrying that they could die tomorrow. You could die tomorrow. You could die right now and drop dead on the spot. Or you could die in 50 years. Life is too short to worry about things that you technically cannot control. You cannot control your death. You cannot control when you die. You cannot even control how you die. And the worst thing you can do is, if you can't control something, is to constantly worry about not having control over dying. The best thing you can do is embrace life, live it to the fuller, and God forbid, if you were to drop dead tomorrow, you could say you lived your life to the full and did whatever you wanted. That's why I live by the motto of, if you want to do it, do it. Because life is too short. You think of how many people have said, well, I'll live to 100, and they drop dead the next day. And they constantly worried about dying. Everything you do is a constant worry or a panic or a concern. Or you look at everything as a hazard or dangerous. It's no way to live. I've embraced death by being around it. So when I sit in a graveyard and people are like, well, that's just weird. Is it really that weird? Is it really? Because I don't think so. I could be totally and utterly wrong. If people want to think that it's weird, then I guess that's their prerogative. But I feel that being in a graveyard, I feel the most at home. And it's probably one of the craziest things I will ever say. A graveyard is where I feel calm, serene. I feel it's where I belong. I love the whole atmosphere in a graveyard. It's so eerie, and people find it unnerving in a graveyard. And yes, it probably is unnerving. You sit in a graveyard at night and you can hear the owls in the trees or the rustling. You might hear the odd hedgehog or bunny going through the undergrowth. You can hear the wind blowing in the air. It can be unnerving. You can see shadows casted by the moon, which I love especially. There is nothing better in a graveyard than a full moon, putting moonlight all over a graveyard, lighting up the graves, making it look just luminescent. It's absolutely beautiful. Accepting death removes all fear. Exactly, J-Ron. That's why I feel, like I said, trying to find where I belong. I feel that being in a graveyard is what I call home. Just because I'm a goth, this whole you like sitting in graveyards is weird, You just bought a bunny. It better be black. Is it a black bunny? Is it black bunny? Because I love black bunnies. I don't know if you enjoyed the picture I sent you, Anna, earlier of the black chicken, because it was lush. Your favorite graveyard in a movie or TV show? Ooh, my favorite graveyard. Ooh. Favorite graveyard in a movie or a TV show? Ooh, that's a hard one. Graveyards. It's a white lion head bunny. Ooh, it's a white one. Oh, I'm surprised you went for white, Anna. I do like a smoky grey bunny or a black one. Smoky grey, I'd have called him Smoky, and a black bunny, I would have probably have called him Lucifer. That's a good top 10 video idea. Ooh, what my favorite graveyards. Ooh, I'm going to have to think about that one, Zero. My favorite graveyard. I do love a graveyard and I love a cemetery, and there's nothing better than hanging out in a mausoleum, which we don't have really mausoleums in the UK, but I watch a channel called I watch a channel dedicated to graveyards. I know, go on. You're weird. There's a graveyard channel that I watch on YouTube, and they go around the various graveyards around the world, and it's such a brilliant channel. Trying to think what it was called. I think it was called, hang on, let me check what it was called. I think it's called Hollywood Graveyards. Let me just check. But it's a really cool YouTube channel. Hang on, let me just check. I think it's Hollywood Graveyards. I've been watching it for quite a while. Yeah, it's called Hollywood Graveyard, and it basically goes around all different graveyards around the world. And it tells you about all the people that died and are buried in that graveyard. It's a really insightful. I've seen quite a few graveyards of famous people through that channel. They go through France. They've done America. They've done the UK. They've done quite a lot of graveyards on there. And I actually find it quite interesting. Whether you'd find the same, I don't know. It's called Hollywood Graveyard. I think it's an absolutely fantastic channel. I highly recommend it. If you want to check that channel out, please do so. I'll put the name in the chat. It's called Hollywood Graveyard. Check out Hollywood Graveyard. It's an amazing channel. And they basically go around looking at graveyards of famous people. It's really cool. I've seen quite a lot of famous people's graveyards through that channel. And I spend quite a lot of my time in and around graveyards. So I've seen some of their videos. Yeah, that's the channel I like to watch currently. They're running a series on there. I think they're done like episode 14 at the minute, and they've been doing subscriber basically subscribers have gone around graveyards and found famous people, and they videoed them, which I think is kind of cool. So they're like people's choice graveyards. People from all over the world have obviously gone to places that maybe he can't afford to go. They took pictures and videos of the graves, and then they've sent it in, and he's made a video series of graveyards, from around the world are famous people. And these are ones that his actual subscribers have filmed. So it's actually really interesting. If you're interested in Hollywood graves, celebrities, musicians, actors, painters, philosophers, you name it, they've done videos on them. And it's really interesting to see where Hollywood people are buried. Some of their graves are really, really simple, just like a simple headstone. And then some of their graves are so elaborate. Like you've got like 8-foot tall, great big columns. You got massive gates sometimes. Or you get really, really, really famous people that have like the world's tiniest grave. Which is crazy to think that they had all this money, this fortune, this fame, and this tiny little spot is all they have left. My personal favorite is watching them when he goes around the mausoleums. That's my personal favorite. Mausoleums where you walk. A mausoleum is basically a building where you walk into it and it just has this echoey, eerie feel to it. And the building itself is just more creepy than anything. And some mausoleums, you walk down some stairs, and then there's all these internal graves, if you want to call it, and plaques on the wall. And it's just so cool. I mean, one place I would love to visit, if you want to talk about death, would be the catacombs in Paris. I would kill to go in the catacombs. They creep me out because I'm claustrophobic. But to go down into the catacombs in France and experience that, I've seen it on the telly. I've watched numerous YouTube videos of the catacombs, but I would so love to go down in there and just feel that aura of death. And just be in that space. Since you're in UK, what does the Queen's grave look like? Well, the Queen's not dead. The Queen's not dead. I've seen that they are like filing cabinets. Yeah, they just pull a body out. The Queen's grave look like Queen's not dead. I hate to say. I've seen videos on that place. It's crazy big. Yeah. Yeah, I love the catacombs. If I could go to France, obviously I'd want to see the Eiffel Tower, see the Louvre, see the Arc de Triomphe. But the more interesting place to me about Paris, apart from the Eiffel Tower, is to go to the cemeteries, graves, and go to the catacombs. I would probably be freaked out in the catacombs because I'm claustrophobic. But to see these skulls and to feel that aura of how many people died there, you just can't put it into words. It's crazy. People are going to say, oh my God, if you're going to go to France, go to the Louvre, see the Mona Lisa, go to the Arc de Triomphe, Notre Dame, go to a winery, do something fun. No, I want to go to the cemeteries, the graveyards, and visit the catacombs. I know. Say that I'm weird. And I'd probably have to agree with you. I would probably agree with you, if I'm honest. But I don't see there's anything wrong with embracing death. I don't see there's anything wrong. I'm probably massively wrong. And people are like, oh my God, what is she talking about? And that's fine. That's perfectly fine to think I'm crazy because, believe me, I think I'm crazy too. But the catacombs would be a fascinating place to look at, a fascinating place to research. And the time and effort that's gone into dedicating such a horrific event, but it's been immortalized in such a beautiful way. No one's ever going to say that again. A most horrific event has been immortalized in such a beautiful way. It sounds crazy. And it is. It's totally crazy. It's totally crazy to think that a place filled with so much death could also have so much beauty and history and intrigue. But that could just be me. I'm going to assume that with one person in the chat, death isn't to everyone's tea. I get that. Are there graveyards next to the ocean over there? Yes, in a way. There is a there's a graveyard in Whitby that kind of overlooks the water. It's not right next to it. It's within distance to the water. And you can then see from the graveyard over the side and a little bit away from it, you can see the water. So there are graves near to water, but not necessarily right by it. I mean, there are quite a few graveyards I've been to in my time, I must admit. I do have a habit when I go to somewhere to visit their graveyards. Sounds weird, I know. People go out on a day trip and they want to go here, there, and everywhere and see the sights, and all I want to do is visit their local cemetery or their local graveyard to see how they differ. Graveyards around the country vary. They vary from size, they vary between a graveyard and a cemetery, and then you've got a chapel, or depending on your religion, the graves, the graveyards, they all differ. And then the location differs, whether they have fences differ, whether they're guarded in, i.e. with like metal bars, whether they're overcrowded by trees, whether it's more an open graveyard. And then quite a lot of graveyards nowadays are in disrepair or unloved, because obviously some of the graves date back, 100, over 100 years, and there's just no one alive left to tend them or look after them. And you do find that graves from back in the day, what they were made out of, the limestone and everything erodes, it breaks, the environment destroys graves, acid rain, snow, dogs peeing up at the ammonia, if you want to say that. But graves deteriorate over time. They weather, they crumble, they crack. Sometimes you can find a displacement in the soil can also make a grave sink. And when a grave sinks, you get the gravestone sinks, and then because it's an unweighted area, you'll get a graveyard that will crack, or the weather will weather it away, so the graveyard gets like fractures in it. And then over time, you'll get the face of the grave will erode away, so you won't see who died, you won't see the name or anything. A lot happens to a grave. Over time, they weather, they break, and some of the most prettiest graveyards are ones where they have fallen apart and that they are unloved and uncared for. And then you get the really fancy people that are buried, where you'll get a grave, and it's more like a tomb than a grave. You get the actual tombs that they're buried in. Or if you don't get a tomb, You'll get a tomb that then has a fence put around it, and that was to stop people from grave robbing. Or if you want to go really crazy when it comes to grave, you'll get a tomb that's encased in a metal cage to stop grave robbers. Back in the day when grave robbing was a real big thing, you get a tomb grave, which is basically a flat rectangular tomb, and then on top of it they would construct a metal cage, and the metal cage was put over the top and dug into the ground, and that was to stop people stealing bodies. Because back in the day, people would steal bodies and sell them to scientists for medical experiments at universities. So they'd steal these bodies, dig them up, and sell them off. So people started finding more elaborate ways to be buried. So they would bury you under a cage. They would bury you with spikes around you. It even got to the point where people were being cremated instead of buried so that you couldn't get their body parts. That's how cremation became a thing. It was to stop the ability for people to steal your bodies by cremating you. There are fascinating things about graveyards that little to no people really take an interest in. Me, on the other hand, I also watch a channel called Ask a Mortician. She has a wonderful channel that delves into death. She's also a mortician in a real life mortician practice that she owns. And it's called Ask a Mortician. It's a fascinating channel. She's talked about embalming, death, and lots of other things on there. She's got a wonderful channel. And like I said, Hollywood Graveyards, Ask a Mortician. If you have an interest in death, Ask a Mortician is a good place to start. She has a lot of videos on there dedicated to death, embalming, ways to be buried, suspicious death cases, the life of a mortician through the pandemic, weird stories, photography during death. She has an entire channel dedicated to death, and it's called Ask a Mortician. And then you've got Hollywood Graveyards if you're interested in celebrities who have died throughout the world. Or in my case, I like looking at it to see the different types of cemeteries, the different types of burials, the different types of graveyards. And another thing that fascinates me is the different type of headstones. Headstones around the world look different. They're made of different stuff. Some are more elaborate than others. And also the idea of cremation fascinates me. It's a massive industry, and it's the only job that you are guaranteed to have people in, because at some point everybody dies. It's the most profitable, I would say, job, because it's never a business that you can run out of people. I've seen some that have little stories. Yeah. Death should not be feared. I think death should be embraced. I think there are so many cool things to learn from death, cemeteries, corpses, crematoriums. They're now doing eco burials or humanitarian burials. They're doing open burials. They're doing a lot to do it so that your body doesn't just sit in the ground in a coffin. You can have it so your remains actually go back into the earth, which is a humanitarian burial, basically. I know people donate their organs and all that, but then the rest of you is dumped in a box, and I couldn't think of anything worse than being dumped in a box underground. I've never understood burials like that. I've always believed that cremation is the way to go, because cremating somebody actually frees their spirit. You probably think I'm loopy, and you'd be right. But I believe a cremation frees your spirit from your body. I know. Call me crazy. I've heard it all before. It's a very niche topic that apparently two of you watching are interested in. Thank God. Or I'd be talking to myself along with my little stiff buddies here. But graveyards fascinate me, cemeteries fascinate me, even death itself fascinates me. And that's why I'm single. It's not why I'm single. That's why I'm alone sitting in a graveyard on a Saturday night with two people in the chair. Because apparently no one else has an interest in death, and that's fine. You don't have to. No one has to have an interest in my channel or my topics. I picked this topic because I went to a graveyard today. I sat there and I just felt home. I felt home in a graveyard, which is crazy. I guess when you spend a lot of your time alone, because when I'm not at work, I spend most of my time alone. I do. And I wander round town and I'm just drawn to sit in the graveyard for like an hour. And I feel so happy when I do. And people think it's weird, but my ex used to think it was kind of funny that I liked graveyards, and we'd laugh and joke about it. And we've even been to graveyards together and hung around and sat there and chilled out. We even went to a graveyard before and got absolutely drunk, which was quite fun. He was freaked out by a supposed sound in the graveyard, and that was hilarious to see a fully grown man drunk, just freaked out. But I love graveyards. There is nothing that I love more on this earth than a nice, peaceful, serene, dusk graveyard, especially at dusk. Going to a graveyard just as the sun is going down, the birds are chirping in the background. It is serene. If you've never been to a graveyard just at dusk, or the other time would be at dawn, first thing in the morning, as the birds are starting to sing around, say, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, sitting in a graveyard, watching the sunrise behind the graves, or in the evening, watching the moon go down, watching the sun go down to see the moon, and then to see the moon just light up the graves, or on a total eclipse night or a half moon night, seeing it cast a shadow. There is nothing more serene than a graveyard. But because, there's only one person in the chat, I'm going to assume that I'm the only person that thinks that. You've only been in the morning and afternoon. 0, you need to go to a graveyard either right in the early morning when the birds start to chirp, or you need to go at dusk. It is a beautiful experience to watch the sun go down behind a bunch of graves, or for the moon to cast a shadow in the evening, especially if you can go on a misty morning or a foggy night and just see a cloud of fog with the moon in the background. It's like a Hollywood story come to life. Here they close them around 6 p.m. They close your graveyard? Really? They don't close our graves around here very often. I've been in a graveyard, 3 o'clock in the morning. To be fair, they don't really. Some of the cemeteries and churches close. A lot of them don't. There's a church where I used to live before I moved here. It never closed. The one in town, their gates locked, but you can still walk through it. Here, even public ones, they close and lock the gates. Really? Are they afraid the dead's going to get out? Is that to lock the dead in, or is that to stop you dying to get in there? Poor Job. I mean, they're dying to get out and you're dying to get in. What am I talking about? Anyone know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about death, which apparently is not a topic to everyone's choice. Not going to make a lot of watch time on this one, are we? But I guess that's not the point of a live stream. Oh no, wait, it is, because I'm monetized and I need the views, people. Death obviously isn't the topic of choice, because death does scare people and people are afraid of death. And I guess they should be. I've lost people at a young age. I had a friend that I lost when I was in high school, and I miss him every day. And I've lost people I barely knew that will still hold a place in my heart. I don't know, the only time I've seen one open at night is when we had a big storm and the road got flooded, so they opened the graveyard road to go around it. Oh, okay. Well, in the UK, we're a bit more lax when it comes to graves and that. But I can see in America how they would be more cautious, because back in the day, obviously, grave robbing was a big thing. No one does it anymore, obviously. But you do get people still steal shit from graves. And you'd be surprised what people will thieve from a graveyard. Which is really disgusting to think that you would thieve from a dead person. But you've heard the saying, when a man comes home with a bunch of flowers and they're looking a bit less for wear because he bought a reduced bunch. Did you buy them at a graveyard? Did you buy them at a gas station, or did you rob them from a graveyard? Who would rob flowers from a graveyard? But, you know, we might have a necro, you know what problem. I mean, you do get necrophilias. They're out there, mind you. Generally, necrophilia people actually work within the graveyard business. They're usually morticians, or they are undertakers. I've seen that happen in real. Well, there are stories of people that had those kind of tendencies. People stealing the flowers. People steal flowers. People steal ornaments and ordained things from a grave. Anything, you know, that isn't nailed down, I guess. People are weird. People are strange, aren't they? Just like wackadoodle people. But then again, I'm the person not stealing from a graveyard, but I am the one sitting in it. So, yeah. Is that more strange? But yeah, people will steal stuff from graveyards. It's a very sorry situation when you get that. But, you know, in this day and age, if things aren't nailed down, people will steal them. There are people out there that have, you know, necrophilia. Most of them are behind bars, but there are people out there. There are people out there. And there has been stories before in the news and the headlines of people like that. Obviously, serial killers being one of them. You'd have to be a quite warped person to be into that. Probably, if you have an interest in that, you should probably be in a psych ward, or locked up in prison in a padded room, maybe. But each to their own, I guess. Never had to talk about that before, Zero. That's a new one. Here's me talking about cemeteries and stealing flowers, and then we're like, on to necrophilia. So I'm definitely demonetized now for this video. At least I'm getting the watch time. But there's no one here because apparently I scared them off with my cemetery chat. I guess it wasn't to everyone's taste, which I get. Raven is an acquired taste, apparently. So, sitting on a live stream by yourself, talking about death, necrophilia, graveyards, morticians, undertakers, embracing death, the catacombs, feeling lost in the world and being at home in a graveyard. You can't make this shit up. It is a fun topic. Well, thank you, Zero. A lot of people obviously wouldn't see it as a fun topic because there's nothing fun about death. But you could embrace death rather than fear it, and embrace life. As they say, there's a saying, and it's a very worldwide known saying, that you are a short time living but a long time dead. So in the short term, you can worry about dying, by all means, but you are a long time dead. So you could spend more time caring about being alive and less time worrying about dead. You can enjoy the life that you have, even if it was just for a short time. But that's a saying that I live by. You're a short time alive and a long time dead. And as the saying goes, you can sleep when you're dead. That's why I sleep for maybe 5 hours a night, because I really, really don't want to miss out on anything. Because you are a long time dead. The word indefinitely springs to mind. And you could wake up tomorrow and die. Or you could live 100 years. What do you think about those haunted ranches in the USA? I think they're pretty cool. One place I would love to visit in America is the Cecil Hotel. Want to visit the Cecil Hotel. Many serial killers have been there. Many people have died. Of course, there was the famous case of Elisa Lam being at the Cecil Hotel. And then you had Richard Ramirez, the famous serial killer, being there. I believe even Ted Bundy was there at one point. Richard Ramirez is the one I remember most from the Cecil Hotel. Obviously, The Night Stalker. If you haven't seen The Night Stalker or Richard Ramirez, I have a video on it. And there's also a Netflix series dedicated to him. He went to court with a pentangle on his hand and basically vowed his life to Satan. I mean, crazy people. But the Cecil Hotel would be one I'd like to visit. The Amityville house is also another one. Another haunted place is Amityville House. There are quite a few haunted places across America I would love to visit that I have read about. The Cecil Hotel is one of the main ones I'd love to visit. Also, there's the house that they did the American Horror Stories in, which is meant to have some eerie backstory to it. But there's death all across America, whether it's cemeteries, haunted houses. Weird shit has happened all across America. That's serial killers, deaths, murders, cults, you name it. But I love a haunted house, like I said. But haunted hotels also intrigue me. You know, haunted houses are okay. The whole ghosty seancey thing gets a bit meh with me. When you especially put it into a film like Paranormal Activity or Ouija, films like that, or you know, things like The Conjuring, Poltergeist, and that kind of things with ghosts. I'm more into like the creepy hotel, murders, serial killers, and that kind of thing. But yeah, haunted houses across America, there are quite a few of them. Whether they're all haunted, mind you, there is evidence to suggest hauntings, but whether you believe they're haunted, I think is a personal thing. Universal Studios Horror Nights, obviously you get Freddy Krueger make an appearance, Jack Skellington makes an appearance, the Boogeyman, Oogie Boogie makes an appearance. The Horror Nights are pretty cool. You know, you'll get Jason going around. You know, it's another cool thing in America that in America you really do celebrate death, if you want to call it that. Or going down to Mexico and celebrating Dia las Muertes, or Day of the Dead is a really cool thing as well. Going down to Mexico and celebrating that, and celebrating death as a form of rather than a negative, it's more like a positive and a celebration. But it's a fascinating topic for me. But I do find that you don't get a lot of people interested in this kind of thing. It's a very niche topic. Death, cemeteries, serial killers, cults. And I haven't found my footing on YouTube for that kind of thing because honestly, it's not a thing people like to talk about. You know, you get modern day serial killers, you know, they kill 2 people and they think they're like Charles Manson kind of status, or Ted Bundy status, or the Toy Box Killer, or the Green River Killer, or if you want to go to a UK serial killer, you've got Fred and Mae West. You've got the Yorkshire Ripper. You've got Jack the Ripper in the UK. You've got Ed Gein in America. You've got so many things I'm fascinated by, which is why I make the serial killer videos. That's why I do the serial killer stuff, because I have a passion for it. And because I don't find a lot of people want to talk about it, like i.e. now on a live stream about death and that. That's why I make videos on them, so I can get my thoughts, my feelings. I research death constantly, whether it's a serial killer, a cult, so I can bring it to my channel and embrace my passion for that kind of thing. But it's not for everybody. And I get that. Not everybody has to like death and horror and things. But you know, each to their own, I guess. Are you Are you into any cryptids? I don't exactly know what you mean, cryptids. Am I missing? Hang on. Hang on. Cryptic deaths. Cryptic. If you want to elaborate, maybe the term in the UK is different. I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Cryptics. Maybe we say it differently in the UK. Or it might just be me being dumb. Who knows? Probably me being dumb. Just me being dumb. Bigfoot. I'm not into Bigfoot. Werewolves. Vampires, on the other hand. Now, vampires, yeah. Vampires are my thing. Let me show you a picture. Let me see if I can get it up. don't know if I can show you. Vampires, yes. I have a big thing for vampires. Let me see if I can get my WhatsApp up. Why wouldn't I like vampires? Bigfoot would be a stretch. It really would. To believe in Bigfoot would be a stretch. Werewolves, I mean, it's probably another touchy subject to believe werewolves are a thing, but no. Hang on. Let me show you. Hang on. Let me take this off. I don't know if you can see that. But I guess it's possible. I mean, nothing is. It's possible. See me as a vampire. Monsters. Are you talking about things like Slenderman? Maybe the Grim Reaper would make an appearance. I mean, he's quite a cool character. I don't know. Vampires, yes. I can sorely believe that vampires are a thing. I mean, there's an entire cult following when it comes to vampires. But then there's a cult following for werewolves, Bigfoot, you name it. There's been a horror movie around that kind of thing. It's an interesting topic. Me personally, I like vampires. My favorite vampire film is Bram Stoker's Dracula. And the worst film ever invented for vampires is Twilight. We don't speak of Twilight. But I do like Bram Stoker's Dracula. Things like Van Helsing, The Lost Boys, Nosferatu. All good vampire horror movies if you haven't been able to see one. Or if you want a quirky vampire movie, watch Dark Shadows. They made a movie called Norstrad, and yes, it's about shit. Monstrad, and yes, it's about shit. Okay, that's new. They've made a lot of horror movies through the years, like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Like what? Great Big Tomatoes Coming to Kill You, or Triffids, which is where plants attack you with acid. I mean, there are films out there. I don't know if you've been watching my series, Zero, but I did a series recently called Watch If You Dare, and it's a series dedicated to crazy, unusual, strange, weird, and out there horror movies. It's a compendium of horror movies that you should watch before you die, and it's called Watch If You Dare. I think I've put 3 or possibly 4 videos up, and each video contains, I can't remember if it's 5 or 6 horror movies that you should watch, with a very small synopsis of the actual film. Not to give too many spoilers away, because I implore you to watch the movies. And the series is called Watch If You Dare. It's on my channel. There is a playlist that features them. So if you want to go check out that playlist, there's been around, I think I've done like 20 films so far that you should watch. Each of them have different reasons for choosing them, whether it's the story, the characters, the aesthetic, the architecture, the whole feeling of the movie, whether it's just got a super director, if you know what I mean, and that kind of thing. You know, that kind of thing. Each horror movie has its own draw, if you want to call it, whether it's a gripping storyline, or back in the day, the terrible graphics, or the terrible mechanics in a film, or just the outright unbelievability that tomatoes could kill you, or The Blob. God, The Blob. There are some shocking horror movies, but you know what? B-rate horror movies can be amazing to watch. You get these Hollywood productions, yes, where their money is thrown up to it and everything is like spick and span. But you know, you cannot beat a gritty B-rate horror movie that is so fucking crazy, or the technology and the graphics are just so crazy. But you know, that's my take on you know, it's my take on the horror thing. But that's just what I like. You missed so much, Gordo. You've missed my talk on graveyards, death, cemeteries, horror movies, crematoriums, morticians. You've missed the talk on necrophilia. I'm sure you missed that one. You've missed a lot, Gordo. We've actually had a really nice stream. Me and Zero have been learning about death. We have the same taste in movies. We do, Zero. Amazingly enough, we do. Even with the age difference. I mean, I've watched some really fucked up horror movies in my time. I've watched a lot of Japanese horror movies. I've watched a lot of foreign horror movies. Especially a lot of French horror movies or Italian. You know, I've spent my life dedicated to, I suppose you could call it, horror, death, crime, murder. It's really dark. It's a really dark thing. Raven said she thinks about death constantly. Who doesn't? Good evening, Joe Buddy. Welcome to my very small shit show of a stream. Ronnie's hard work enough on his own. Funny. You don't have another dog. Well, maybe you should have another dog. Those Italian and Spanish ones are pretty hardcore. I like a good French horror movie as well. A really unnerving movie would be Martyrs. If you haven't seen Martyrs, it's a French-speaking horror movie. You can get a remake of Martyrs. For God's sake, do not watch the remake. There's an American remake of Martyrs, and it's fucking horrendous. If you're gonna watch a French horror movie, watch Martyrs, and watch the French version of it, or watch the French dubbed version. Because you do not want to watch the American remake. They made that, and oh my God, it doesn't follow the storyline of Martyrs. It doesn't have as much gore, or it doesn't have anything that the original had. So if you want to watch a European horror slash movie that I actually have watched quite a few times, watch Martyrs. It's got a lot of psychology in it, underlying tones of death in it. Yeah, watch Martyrs. It's a really good horror film. I'll send you the link to it, Zero. It's a really good movie to watch. You know, I've watched some Japanese horror before. Some are a little bit more gorier than others. Other ones are more playful. There is such a thing as a playful horror film, or a gore fest. If you want to take a jokey film that's horror, something like Battle Royale, I found absolutely hilarious. Battle Royale is about a bunch of kids that get put on this island, and they're told to fight to the death. And it's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. I actually laughed at people dying in a horror movie. I can't watch anything with subtitles. Oh, do you know, I actually don't mind subtitles. Um, Sometimes the only problem is when you take a foreign film and they change the language into English. Sometimes it doesn't quite change properly. Sometimes you can get that the actual translation isn't as good as if you were watching it dubbed. Because they do voiceovers sometimes with people who need subtitles. Joe sounds like my wife. I like movies with subtitles. Sometimes I feel that you are more invested in watching a film when it has subtitles, because you actually have to watch the screen the entire time, read the subtitles, and it's a more engaging experience for a horror movie than to not have to look at the screen constantly, and you could be having a conversation with somebody and you'll miss crucial parts of the storyline. But when you watch a subtitle film, I think you put more of your effort into watching it because you have to read it. And I think you get more involved and in depth with a horror movie like that. I can barely understand Rose Blades any further north and I'm lost. So we do, Joe. We can't understand them either. I like a film with subtitles. I think it's a more immersive experience to read subtitles, and you gauge yourself more into the film. But that's just my personal opinion. I could be way out here, but I've watched many a Japanese film, French films with subtitles, Italian films. I've watched a lot of films with subtitles. Um, I just have. It, it's just a thing that I've always grown up with. I've always had a more, a more. I appreciate the foreign films more. And sometimes they do put so much effort into these films, and just because it's subtitled doesn't make the film any less for me. But it's not for everybody. Some people just cannot, you know, do subtitles. That's perfectly fine. Geordies are just as bad as the Scots. I have to admit, when I went to Scotland a few years ago, some of their dialect is so hard to understand, and they talk so quickly. They're like, blah 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 blah, and you're like, what? Huh? You need to slow that down, and we're going to do it syllable by syllable. But that's how they speak. It's no different to, going over Japan and someone speaking in Japanese to you. You learn dialects and you learn people's languages over time. And accents, they vary all around the world. Some accents are so hard to understand. I get that. And some aren't, you know. But I do like a film with the subtitle. I don't see the harm in it. But as you can see, I'm in my own personal graveyard this evening. I felt alone this evening. I mean, I live alone 24/7. So I felt like being surrounded by people. They just happened to be dead. Why not? Why can't I be surrounded by dead people and be happy about it? But we've had a really nice talk. Me and Zero were talking about the catacombs, haunted houses, crypts, serial killers, places to visit in America, graveyards, cemeteries, morticians, the fact I used to date an undertaker's son. And we've talked about everything from living to dying. When's the right time to go to a graveyard? I mean, it's like the weirdest stream you'll ever have been in, Zero, I tell you. But it's also the most funnest because it's a topic that I actually have an interest in, which a lot of people don't. And it's hard to find people on YouTube that have this interest. You know, I watch serial killer stuff every day. I do. I have an interest in serial killers. I will watch a documentary, a true crime episode about murder and serial killers every day. Rafe should become a mortician. She could have exciting conversations with all her clients. I'd love to be a mortician. I used to date an undertaker's son, and if I'd have wanted to, I could have got into the mortician profession and the undertaker profession. I dated an undertaker's son, and he had his own business. And the business is still up and running, I believe, to this day. Obviously, I don't date him anymore. That was many, many moons ago when I was in high school. And I used to get to see everything, the embalming, the bodies. And I've seen people die in front of my eyes. I worked in a care home, so I've seen people die. I've bathed them. I've dressed them. I've gone to the crematorium. I've seen people being cremated. I've seen what happens afterwards. I've seen the whole process, start to finish, from being alive to dying, to being cremated, to being buried, to then going to a graveyard every week to have an hour's worth of peace and calm. Are you related to Adam's family? Joe wants to know. No, I'm not. I'm also not related to the Munsters either, but I do have an inkling for death. Anyone would think I was talking about something strange and unusual. I mean, people die every day. I just have to have an intrigue into death and graveyards and moving off this mortal coil, if you want to call it, as well as the horror movies, the serial killers, everything that's portrayed about death. You know, she likes a good stiffy. Well, I wouldn't complain. Moving on. Moving on swiftly. If only, Gordo. You know, it's not a topic for everybody. I get that. You know, that's why really there's nobody in my chat, because people apparently aren't fascinated by death, and I don't know why. Because eventually we're all going to experience it. So whether you die today or tomorrow or 10 years or 50 years from now, it's a thing that plays on people's minds. It's just that most people don't talk about it. Most people will think of death on a daily basis, whether they go out drinking and they think, well, I could die of alcohol poisoning. If you get in your car, you might think, well, maybe I'll have an accident today. Maybe you'll go to bed tonight and wonder if you'll not wake up in the morning. Just because I talk about this thing out loud and people don't, doesn't mean that people don't think of death. They just don't talk about it like me. I guarantee you that people do think of death on occasion. It's just that I literally talk about death to people. And it does sound weird. It does sound crazy. I even work opposite an undertaker's. I work opposite an undertaker's. My actual workplace is opposite an undertaker's. I am that close to death again. my house, my my work is opposite an undertaker's. I mean, to me, that's pretty cool. Other people might be like, yeah. But no, I work opposite an undertaker's and I find it fascinating. As grim as that sounds, I've even spoken to the young boy in there who's an undertaker. And he has the same kind of, I won't call it enthusiasm, but the same thoughts on death, that death isn't a departure from this world, it's just the start of a new one. Maybe you could find an apartment over a funeral home. Oh my God, how cool would that be? How cool would that be to live live above a funeral home? That would be like, oh, my dream house. I mean, living in a haunted house or living in a converted cemetery chapel would be so cool. Or to live actually in the cemetery. You do get like chapels of rests, which is like I suppose you could call it like a cemetery caretaker house that's as close to the church as you can get it. Basically, you get cemetery keepers, where you get the cemetery and then you get this little house next to it, and they basically tend to the cemetery, the graves, mow the lawns, and they live right next to it. The city mortuary, you stab them, city mortuary, you stab them, we slab them, would be a great answer phone. I guess that would be quite funny. And obviously living over a funeral home would be like epic. I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm not one for boring topics, I guess. I'm just one for topics that don't necessarily fit everybody's niche. Because I've been on my own most of the evening. Zero was here for a while, but it's not to everyone's cup of tea, I guess. But I thought it was an interesting chat nonetheless. I think graveyards are a fascinating place. I obviously have more of an interest than other people in death and cemeteries and morticians. And one place I'd love to visit is the catacombs in France. And there are some beautiful cemeteries around the world. Like I said earlier, there's 2 channels I watch dedicated to death, if you want to call it. And that's Hollywood Graveyards, where they go around graveyards of the world. And then there's Ask a Mortician, which is a channel about a mortician that owns a funeral parlor. And she talks about death and burials and all of that sort of stuff. And they both fascinate me. They have a video out, I think maybe once a month, sometimes more often. But as Zero said, they are a really interesting channel, depending on your preference and insight into death. But it's a thing I've been fascinated from since I was a child. Like I said, I had a boyfriend in high school when I was 13, 14. And I used to spend most of my time around a morgue or at the undertaker's office or going to funerals, because I also used to be at many of the funerals. So I've been surrounded by death for years. I also lost a good friend of mine when I was younger, and he died. And then the obsession with death just took hold. It's a very sad story, which I'm not going to go into, but I lost him when I was in high school, and he was a very, very dear friend of mine, and he died in the most horrible way. And I suppose I never really came to terms with it, and then I became fascinated with death. They were advertising for people to come and watch a human dissection at my local university. Ooh, oh my God, how cool! You're gonna say, "Ooh, Raven, no, oh God, no, oh my God, that would have been fascinating." Oh, a human dissection. Oh, that would have been so fun. Watching them slit open the rib cage, prise it apart, tear through the bone, the muscle, the cartilage. I really need therapy, don't I? Many, many years of therapy. To see all the blood vessels and the workings of the internal organs and the body. Oh, it'd be so much fun. It'd be so much fun. That was only recent last week. Oh, why don't we have such fun things around me? That sounds really cool. Therapy for sure. Well, thank you, Joe. Can't remember where I saw it advertised. Well, I'm guessing it just wasn't on the TV. Come and watch a dissection. Sounds really cool though, Gordo. If there was something like that around here, I'd be there in a heartbeat. I'd be signing up tomorrow to witness a dissection. Many years of therapy, maybe, Joe. Maybe. If you'd like to donate to help my therapy, link in the description to my PayPal. Donate to my therapy sessions because apparently I need many. Support the channel, show your appreciation for my 2 hours of dedication to talking about death. Would be appreciated. But I do this as a hobby. As a coach will tell you, I just do this as a hobby. It's not a business, so I don't have to put my time and effort really into my channel, and I don't have to care about it. Because this isn't a business. To me, this is a hobby, and it's fascinating to me. And a lot of people don't want to talk about death online. They don't want to talk about morticians or burials or cults or weird stuff. If only I could find a niche on YouTube that goes for this, because obviously Susan will demonetize me and I make nothing for doing streams like this. But I don't mind, because I'm more interested in getting an opinion out there, rather than making money, I guess you could say. You could always super chat me, Joe Buddy. I've got a super chat because I'm monetized. I know. And as people will tell you, this is just for fun in my case. Am I looking to make money on YouTube? I mean, I do make money each month from being monetized. I do make some money from all of this. If I live streamed more, maybe I'd make more, to be fair. Maybe I'd make a lot more. Maybe I should pick my topics better. I mean, I always make more money when I do drama, but drama can be a bit after a while, a bit samey, a bit meh. But drama does sell. Unfortunately, it does. Drama also pays the bills. 22nd of May, they wanted £79 entrance fee. Do you know what? To see a dead body, dissected, I think I'd pay £80. Your PayPal broke. They want a photo ID for Joe Buddy. And Joe Buddy is a fictitious name. They want a photo ID for Joe Buddy. And I guess your alias doesn't have a photo. Oh dear, Joe. Trying to scout around and look what happened. But like I said, I do this mainly for fun. It's more of an interest and a hobby for me, but I do make money off YouTube because I'm monetized. And I do get good AdSense, if I'm honest. Because 90 odd % of my channel is green, as Eli would say. Most of my channel is green. Well, thank you, Joe, for the £3. You're much welcome. I hope my therapy helps me overcome my obsession with death. But thank you to Joe Buddy for the £3 therapy fund. Thank you, Joe. Many years of therapy will be needed, I think, because I've spent so long being dedicated to death. I honestly don't believe that I would change my mind on it. I've watched so many hours of death, cult, serial killers, crimes, murders. I even dedicated it somewhat on my channel where I do true crime, unsolved murders, missing people, serial killers. And I have topics that I would do that are more gruesome, but I don't think YouTube would allow me. I do have some more niche topics, but YouTube apparently frowns upon them. Fancy that. But I have to be careful what I put out on here because that old green symbol quickly turns to yellow and quickly turns to red where I get nothing for it. So I have to be careful, and I doubt this stream is monetized right now. I have to say, with some of the content we've been talking about, with the death, cemeteries, necrophilia, I would say £3 is probably all I've earned from this, from Joe Buddy, because it's not a topic that I think YouTube would want to monetize. But I love the topic, so I give up the chance of having a monetized video to discuss a topic that I actually enjoy, have a passion for, and have an interest in, at the expense of making nothing from the monetized video. But that's just who I am. I dedicated myself to this topic for this stream, and if I make nothing from it, then so be it. I knew going into this that it wouldn't necessarily be monetized. YouTube, I'm gonna check. It probably says more than likely says, yeah, you know what? No. I don't know if this topic is for YouTube. You're like, no. Maybe it's monetized. I doubt it. I'm going to say at least a yellow symbol. At least a yellow one. I'll let it load and then I will see. But I've enjoyed the topic. Zero and me had a massive conversation about this. But I'm going to suggest that YouTube is not so willing to expand its wide range of niches into talking about death as a creditable AdSense outlet, which is fine, because who wants to be part of that anyway? I'm more happy being weird and alone on a stream than I am being monetized. But you know, it was the risk you take. I did say at the start, I thought that my channel, the video would not be for YouTube viewing. And, well, we're going to find out, aren't we? I'm going to suggest probably not. It's loading, apparently. YouTube hates my channel, so... Oh. Are we monetized would be the thing. Ooh. It's not looking good. It's not looking good for my stream. Monetization is on. Holy shit. Well, fuck me. Monetized. Ooh, I got a green symbol. Well, way to go, YouTube. Oh, hello. We're on a green symbol. Who knew YouTube was into death and necrophilia? Who knew? It was an AdSense-worthy video. It's actually a green symbol. Oh my God, you talk about the drama and suddenly your video plummets. You talk about death and I get a green symbol. What is up with that, YouTube? I mean, I could talk about drama for a couple of hours and it would go either red, depending on what I said, or yellow. I've spoke about death for 2 hours, necrophilia, catacombs, seances, murder, serial killers, and YouTube is like, you know what? It's a green symbol. Green symbol. YouTube has monetized Eli's dying channel for years, and of course they are into necrophilia. Well, apparently so, because my video is monetized. I don't know how that's come about, but apparently it's monetized. Who knew? I honestly believed I was going to get to the middle of this stream and I'd find that it was demonetized and that I'd just be like wasting the rest of my evening talking about death on a video that was making nothing. But apparently we're greenlit. Who knew? But obviously I've made £3 or $3. Thank you to Joe Buddy for the therapy fund, much needed. Apparently, I cannot believe a monetized video about death and serial killers. But to be fair, 99% of my videos are actually monetized, and that's my true crime, my serial killers, cult videos, missing people videos. They're all monetized. There's only 2 videos I know on my channel that are actually yellow symbols, and they said no to monetizing them fully because they contained unsuitable or questionable material, i.e. in the description of an act performed, I think it was. So those 2 videos are the only 2 videos on my channel that actually have a yellow symbol. Every other video on my channel is actually monetized, which is amazing with the fact I have videos on murder and death and serial killers and people that, you know, are untoward, and they're monetized. But you could do a drama channel, do some drama videos, and then all be demonetized in a heartbeat. It doesn't make any sense. Of course it doesn't make any sense. Why would it? But that's obviously how YouTube see it. Maybe it's could be classed as an educational and factorial video. I mean, I have discussed a lot about cemeteries and graves and the whole mortician process, and seances, haunted houses. It could be classed as educational, which is maybe why it's not demonetized, because it was factual, it was engaging, it wasn't grotesque or vulgar. We talked about graveyards in horror movies and TV, and serial killers in haunted houses. So I'd class it as more educational than like a gore horror fest kind of, if you want to call it that. Questionable material, if you want to use that term. But yeah, it's a monetized video, so I suppose thank you to YouTube for being, I suppose you could call it, a bit more open-minded. There's nothing educational about Eli's channel. I mean, I don't think Eli's ever talked about death if I'm honest. I don't think it's I would have to say I don't think the group I hang around with are into death and cults and serial killers and that kind of thing. But I could be wrong. There could be a closet serial killer fanatic within the group, but I doubt it. I mean, I guess you could learn something from Eli's if you tried hard enough, and you needed that help. I don't need coaching or therapy, although Joe thinks I need therapy. I don't see there's anything wrong with having a fascination in a topic, whether it's horror movies, cars, football. Everyone has a passion for something or an interest or a hobby. Mine just happens to be a very niche subject matter that maybe not everybody is into, or maybe not everybody has ever thought of, which is why I posed the question earlier of trying to find where I belong on YouTube. And really, honestly, don't know if there really is a place for me on YouTube, if you could say that. But I have a fascination for it. And I think the reason my group chat has been so quiet this evening is because maybe not everybody is into this topic, and I get that. I don't expect everybody to flock to my channel because, oh, look, Raven's talking about death. It's obviously a very niche topic, and some people find it harder to talk about death or something like that. But at the start of the stream, I said that the one place I actually feel home more than anything is in a graveyard, and people do find that weird. I've sent you a link for that human dissection. Well, thank you, Gordo. I'm glad we're on the same wavelength. Somebody has to be out there in the world. Someone has to have the same weird fascinations that I do, or at least can understand my fascination for certain things, maybe a little bit. Teensy bit. You know, maybe I'm just strange, weird, abnormal, but I like who I am. I like the fascination with serial killers. I like that I watch a murder thing every day. I love to go to haunted houses, cemeteries at night, watch a human dissection, see a body being embalmed and drained of all its fluid, you know, witness a cremation. You know, things like that fascinate me. It's a morbid thing, I know. But sometimes the most morbid thing can be a beautiful thing. It's just individual to the person, I guess. Am I strange? Maybe a little. Is it weird? Absolutely. But am I happy with who I am? Am I happy with my interests, my passions, my hobbies? Have I been told before that it's weird? Absolutely. But I like who I am. And that kind of thing interests me. And if I could find more open-minded people that were willing to talk about that kind of thing, you'd find that death isn't as scary, and that death can be more of a celebration and can be more of a eye-opener. Death doesn't have to just be morbid. And you're going to say, well, you're a goth. Of course you're morbid. You sit in a graveyard. It's It's the typical stereotype of, well, she's a goth, she sits in a graveyard. Yes, I sit in a graveyard. Yes, I'm a goth. Do the two go in hand? Not necessarily. Not all goths just sit around in the graveyard all day. That's a very stereotype that has stuck around for many, many years. But goths do hang in a graveyard. There is an allure, there is a fascination, there is a curiosity to a graveyard, a cemetery, a chapel, a mausoleum. And I can't see there's anything wrong with it. And that's my personal thought on the issue. Other people may beg to differ and think you're weird, you're strange, you're sort of. But that's me. And you know what? I like me. And that's fine. I'm fine with who I am. Maybe not everybody else is, but I am. So if I could find other like-minded people on YouTube, exactly. There isn't any. I mean, I don't think there is a community like that on YouTube. People think I'm weird because I'm into reptiles, amphibians, and the like. You do have a fascination for your reptiles, your amphibians, and I bet you do spend a lot of your time dedicated to researching, building, spending time with them and everything. And I spend a lot of my time researching and have a fascination for true crime and serial killers. And then I now spend my time and dedicate some of my content to serial killers, to cults, to missing people, to unsolved crimes, to cold cases, because I can then put my passion not only just watching the stories, but actually telling you the stories, making you technically relive it through my research. Because some of the most fascinating cases go under the radar because they're not publicized. And many of the killers that I like were from back in the day when they weren't put in the newspaper. They weren't glorified on TV. You didn't get to see their court case being broadcast on TV. Some of the most fascinating serial killers were only ever written about on paper. You didn't have a movie dedicated to them or, TV films dedicated to them. They were serial killers of a bygone era of serial killers. And they fascinate me. They just do. And there isn't a niche really for that. So when I say to people that I don't really fit in, I don't. I don't really fit in anywhere. And that's sad, I guess. Apparently in Kent there's a population of scorpions living in the harbour walls. I wouldn't mind going to have a look to see if I could find them. Oh my God, that sounds absolutely amazing. That sounds so cool. If you actually went there, you have to film stuff like that. That sounds amazing. Like, I don't know if that's a real thing, but if it is, it sounds amazing. Now, people will go, well, why on earth would you find that fascinating? Because it is fascinating. Just because it's not fascinating to you doesn't mean it's not fascinating to another person. But I'm the abnormal, I'm the weird, I'm the indifferent, I'm the crazy, I'm the insane. I'm the part of humanity that is a very select in popularity, if you want to call it that. But I like my niche. I like my channel. I want more people to like who I am, I guess. It's not a popularity contest, I know, but I do feel that I don't fit in. Yeah, it's real. It's in the Sheerness on the Isle of Sheppey. Oh, okay. That sounds interesting. But I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I don't claim to be everybody's cup of tea. But I don't know. Maybe I'm delving too much into this, and maybe I would love it if more people liked me, I guess. But I don't know. There are yellow-tailed European scorpions. Well, that sounds cool. But I guess we should wrap this up. I've been talking for 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's like 20 to 10. Did you also know we have wallabies living wild in the UK? No, can't say I did. Amazingly enough, I've never been to a graveyard and seen a wallaby, but I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, obviously in Australia, they've obviously got wallabies just hanging around graveyards, just like Skippy going through the graveyard. I had no idea, Gordo, but it's fascinating. But I guess I should probably wrap this up. It's like 20 to 10, and I guess I could do with eating. Haven't really took a minute for myself today, but I hope you enjoyed this stream. You probably didn't learn anything you didn't already know because you probably didn't want to know the facts in the first place. Who wants to know about death from graveyards? A very select few people, but thank you to everybody that actually did turn up and support the channel, all the likes, all the watch time, and especially Joe Buddy for your $3 super chat. Thank you, Joe. I know my content isn't for everybody. I get that. But I hope at some point down the line, we can talk more in depth about graves, cemeteries, death, maybe go more into horror films, and that kind of thing, or discuss cults, which also fascinate me. But I'm not to everybody's taste. I get that. But maybe one day I'll have a bigger audience that are interested in the same things as me. Maybe I'm, as they say, just not finding my place on YouTube. Maybe I'll need to branch out or look a bit harder. Maybe I need to get my thoughts and opinions out there more on certain topics like this, and get more people to listen. And maybe, just maybe, they'll have an interest too that they didn't know they had, because death comes to us all. You can't choose it. You can't choose when. You can't choose how, but it does come to us all eventually. And the worst thing you can do is spend every day fearing you're going to die. There's nothing worse than having death play on one's mind in a negative way. I think of death in a more positive way. It weirds people out, and I guess I'm happy with that. I'm happy being the weird, strange goth girl that talks to a chat about death. And unfortunately, it's not a topic about drama, so it doesn't create as many people or as many donations or as many likes. But it's a topic I'm interested in. which means that anyone that has turned up and chatted or donated, I appreciate you even more than when you came to a drama stream, because this is something that I actually enjoy talking about and actually have a passion for. And thank you for turning up and listening to me rambling on about a subject that most people think of taboo. But thank you to Zero for participating in a good 90% of the stream, and Gordo and Joe Buddy again for donating, and anybody else who turned up. I can't remember all of you. I'm sure there was many more. And I'm sure, this isn't to everybody's tastes. I get that. I do miss having, if you want to call it, maybe a bigger following on here, but I guess I'm not to everybody's cup of tea, and death just isn't everyone's topic. Maybe if I did drama, I'd have an entire chat full of people. But, drama gets boring. And to be fair, drama is a dying thing on YouTube. But that's all right, because I'm talking about graveyards where everyone is already dead. Maybe it's a niche topic, and maybe one day, just one day, more people will embrace death. But I don't know. I'll find my feet eventually. I will do. Sometimes feeling alone like this, being in a graveyard, as crazy as it sounds, makes me feel surrounded by people. It really does. I should go. I need to eat before I die of starvation. But thank you to everyone that came. Unfortunately, it wasn't the stream I'd planned. I had a different stream planned, and things just conspired and it didn't happen. But I think I made a good situation. I tried. It's not a stream everybody asked for, but you got it anyway. But you never know. Maybe we can get the stream I wanted at some point up and running next week. I have 4 days off next week. Go me. Because I have to have a rest from work because of my back. I've done a lot recently at work. I've done a shit ton of overtime. Shit ton. So if you want to support the channel like Joe Buddy did, and support the time and effort that I've put into my live streams, my channel, I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I'm my cup of tea. And I've come to terms with myself, my interests, my hobbies. I may be single, but just because I'm single doesn't necessarily mean I'm alone. Yes, I go to a graveyard and hang around for an hour. I plan to do a live stream from a graveyard while having a picnic. If you'd like to call me crazy, then by all means, I'm crazy. But I think a beautiful summer picnic in a graveyard will be just what's needed. But that could just be me. If you don't want to see me doing a picnic in a graveyard, then maybe this live stream wouldn't be for you. But I think it would be so cute to do a picnic in a graveyard, and live stream it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not everyone's thing. I'm at work but listening. No worries, Joe Rom. I knew it wasn't going to be a wide ranging topic. Not everyone is going to want to talk about death, of all things. I actually was planning a positive stream. I know, shock horror. I was actually planning a stream behind the scenes, and it fell through. And I was feeling a bit gutted and a bit meh, and a bit morbid. And I thought, why not do a stream about trying to fit in, and that the place I feel that I fit in more than anywhere is being in a graveyard, where no one critiques you, no one judges you, no one says nasty things to you, no one has opinions about you. You just sit in a graveyard, watch the world go by, and for that split second, you feel perfectly fine. You're going to say I'm crazy, I'm insane, I'm strange, I'm weird. Believe me, I have heard it all. I've heard it all. I've had so many negative comments from people before. And I've even had negative comments when I've been sitting in a graveyard, asking me what I'm doing when I'm sitting in a graveyard. Why are you sitting in a graveyard? Because I like it. And then they look at me strangely and walk off. Like, whatever. I'm in a Facebook group called Beauty of the Dead. I'll send you an invite. Okay. Yeah, if you want to send that to me in, I would suggest my Discord, or send it to me on Facebook or somewhere where I can get hold of it. But I feel at home in a graveyard, and I have been called names and ridiculed, made fun of, laughed at. So I plan to do a picnic in a graveyard. Maybe one of the crazy ideas I've had, but you know what? It'll make a blinder of a live stream. Sandwiches, soda, picnic basket, picnic blanket, graveyard. What could be better than a sunny day in a graveyard with a picnic? But that's just me. That's Weird Raven planning her summer. Am I going to the beach? Am I going on holiday? No, I'm going to a graveyard with a picnic basket and some mini sausages. Maybe we have different opinions on what's acceptable in the world, and maybe having a picnic in a graveyard isn't acceptable to some people. I can't see the problem. Maybe you can. But thank you also to Joe Buddy for the £3 for my therapy fund, because apparently I need many years of therapy. Apparently I need therapy for my obsession with death. And I need to get it looked at. But that's Joe Buddy's opinion. And whether you take his opinion with a pinch of salt, or whether you think I am completely off my rocker, is entirely up to you. Don't let Joe Buddy sway you. Yeah. So, this wasn't to everyone's liking. And if you didn't like it, well, unfortunately, it's tough. My channel, my topic, it's monetized. So, thumbs up to YouTube for keeping it green. I don't know how. If you go back and you listen to this, we talked about some weird subjects. Serial killers, haunted houses, even talked about necrophilia. And it's still green. Don't ask. I can't answer questions like that. YouTube have their own agenda, apparently. But a drama stream, No. Red. Necrophilia stream, green. I don't know. YouTube is a weird species, I tell you. But if you liked this video, this live stream, this look into the dark underworld of graveyards, morticians, horror films, necrophilia, give it a thumbs up. What's the worst that could happen? You could die tomorrow. I mean, death's inevitable, so just give it a thumbs up anyway, just on the off chance. If you want to support the channel, PayPal, Super Chat. I put time and effort into my research for all my videos. I spend many hours watching death, researching death. And it's a passion. It may not be to everyone's tastes, but I enjoy it. And that's the main thing. I enjoy it. Therefore, I made a YouTube channel dedicated to some of it. But if you want to like and subscribe, that would be amazing. If you want to join me for another dark, depressing live stream coming very soon, do subscribe, because it's not always this morbid. But I can't guarantee that. And I will see everybody for another possibly more uplifting stream in the future when I try to go live again. I don't know. At the minute, I'm erratically live streaming based on nothing in particular. Yeah, I've enjoyed the stream. I hope you have too. If you want more depressing content like this, then check out my playlists for serial killers, unsolved murders, crimes, death, if you have an interest in that. If you want to share any comments on this video of how crazy I am and strange, you're more than welcome to. The more interaction, the better, even if it is negative, telling me you're... I don't care. I honestly don't. But thanks for watching, I guess. Any of you that were offended by this video, it's a bit late, you've watched it. And I will speak to everybody hopefully very soon. Maybe from a graveyard. Who knows? So take care, and I guess thanks for watching. Have a good night. Bye, guys.